All right, what's up, everyone? This is Mr. Anderson. I'm the Career and College Counselor here at CV, and I'm going to go over planning to try to apply for highly selective colleges. I get students all the time at the end of your junior year, beginning of the senior year, who come in and talk to me and they say, Mr. Anderson, I really want to try and get into Stanford. What do I need to do? The hard part of that conversation ends up being that should have been a conversation we had 2 years ago to try and help guide you for some of the things that you should be doing in high school. So what we want to be able to do is get you guys this information early on in high school so that you can plan for applying to highly selective colleges, so that you can understand what they're looking for and what it is that that would help you to be able to get a better chance of getting in. So, I mean, the reality is highly selective colleges are not like other colleges. The application process is not the same. These are schools, anything from University of Washington, Brigham Young University, or Stanford, Harvard, University of Pennsylvania, Dartmouth, Duke, Georgetown. There's a lot of them. But they're those colleges that end up being highly selective in the applicants that they actually accept. So in order to actually get accepted to these schools, honestly, this takes some very careful planning. So let's talk about some of the things that would be important with this. So what kind of students actually get accepted? Now, I've been doing this. This is my 16th year as a school counselor. I've worked with students that have gotten into everything from Stanford, Harvard, Penn, University of Southern California, of course, lots of UW, Cornell, Georgetown, Duke, a lot of schools are across the country that are highly selective. So when you look at those, when I look at those students, those past students of mine that have gotten accepted, and I'm actually in conversation with the college reps from those schools a lot too, these are the types of things that I have learned. So number one, they're looking for intelligent students. Of course they are. A lot of these schools are liberal arts colleges, not all of them. Like University of Washington, I don't know that you would really call them a liberal arts college, but Harvard sure is. So they are looking for highly intelligent students that can keep up with rigor in a lot of different subjects. So they are looking for, in one sense of the word, well-rounded, highly intelligent students. However, what they're also looking for are experts, because they don't want just a well-rounded individual. They want experts in your passion. So they want to find somebody that has a spike in something. Let me show you what that means. So when they're looking at students, what they're looking for is a pretty high level in almost every subject area. They really are. I mean, they're highly selective colleges for a reason. They expect you to be able to achieve at a high level everywhere. However, they also want to find that one area that you have gone above and beyond in. For example, in this one, this is math, right? Maybe this person has, not only did they get through AP Calculus early, but they've gone on to either Eastern Washington University, and they've taken calculus and linear algebra and all sorts of other math classes. Or maybe if it's in the area of world language, they've studied actually 2 or 3 different languages. They've taught themselves a different language. If it's in the area of computer science, maybe they not only have taken all the computer science classes in our school, but they've sought out different computer science classes or taught themselves computer science languages. There are a lot of examples for that. They still expect a high level of achievement in all the areas. However, they are looking for that one area, that spike. They're looking for enterprising people. So students that create their own opportunities, that don't just look for the things that exist out there already, but actually go and create new things, whether that's, working with nonprofits, businesses, clubs. Maybe they're creating their own things. It's kind of a weird thing to say, but they're looking for people that they predict will be highly successful, Because if their graduates from highly selective schools become famous and they make lots of money, that will actually contribute back to their school. And so, through alumni giving. And so that's what they're looking for. They're looking for that spike, that area where they might be able to become just so famous or so successful in their area that they become not only an advertisement for their college, but they also become financially successful enough to be able to contribute back as an alumni. They're also looking for self-starters. They're not looking for students that have to be coerced or convinced to do things, especially early in high school. So one of the things that I always say is don't let your parents drive all the things that you're doing. If you really want to go to a highly selective school, then you need to be the one in the driver's seat, not your parents. Your parents are there to help support you and help you find balance in your life. Sometimes they're the ones that are helping you rein some things in. If you really want this opportunity, you got to go after it. So what should your parents actually do? They should be there to encourage you. They should help you organize your life, because sometimes if you're going to take on a lot of opportunities, that's going to be difficult for you to handle. They should help guide you in communicating with opportunities. And I'm not saying your parents should be the ones communicating. They shouldn't be. You should be. However, they can help guide you in that. How do you word a professional email as you're reaching out to a certain opportunity? How do you provide a professional cover letter if you're applying to something? They can help you with college applications, not the essay portion, because that really needs to be your voice in that. But they can help you with filling out college applications and managing some of that, organizing some of that, because a lot of the college application is just simple demographics. Your parents can help you with that part and leave the more difficult things that require your voice to be from you. Same with scholarship applications. Your parents can do a lot of it, but not the essay. The essay needs to be your voice coming through on this, not your parents' voice. So don't expect your parents to take over this for you. Your parents are there to support you in your dreams. And if this is not your dream, if you're not willing to get in the driver's seat of this, if you're not willing to sacrifice to try and get to a highly selective school, that's okay. You don't have to go to Stanford to be a highly selective a highly successful engineer. You don't have to go to Harvard to be a highly successful doctor. You don't have to go to Johns Hopkins University to be a highly selective science researcher. You can go to all sorts of different schools and still achieve your dreams. Just understand, if you're wanting to get into one of these highly selective schools, it takes a lot of drive. And it can't be your parents that are the ones driving this. It needs to be you. All right, so what do you need to do now? So ideally, you're watching this as a freshman, and you're trying to plan out what you're going to do. Even if you're a sophomore, that's okay. You still have some time. But what do you need to do right now? Number one, you need to be really careful with your course selection. The colleges want to see the most rigorous course load that you can handle. The absolute most rigorous that you can handle, because in reality, they want to see if you're prepared to handle college life on their campus. Now, they know the classes that we offer. They know the AP courses. They know the most advanced courses that we offer at the school, because they have access to something called a school profile, or an academic profile of our school, which lists all of our AP courses. So just because you're trying to take a little bit lighter load and hoping that they don't notice, no, they will notice. But I just want you to know, they know what we offer. They want to see rigor. They want to see you take the most rigorous thing possible. They want to see AP and advanced courses. They want to see you push yourself. They really do, because they know that that is going to help you to be the most successful on a highly selective college campus. Now, in terms of extracurricular opportunities, this is your opportunity to show them more of you, okay? So number one, be involved in school. Now, here's what I always say, and I know that not everyone is excited when I say this. Sports are good. Being involved in athletics have a lot of advantages. I'm sorry, they have a lot of benefits to your life. Learning teamwork, hard work, the exercise, all that type of stuff is fantastic in your life. In terms of applying to a highly selective college, sports are a good thing. Now, if you're a top athlete and you're looking at going to get an athletic scholarship, you're in a whole different category. But in terms of just a regular student, sports are a good thing. Actually, though, clubs are better. Clubs show a connection with maybe an area of passion. They show giving back to your community. It gives you opportunities for leadership. It gives you a lot more things that will tie into your future, and that ties into things that you could do on a college campus more directly than sports, athletics. Now, the best thing that you can be involved with is competition clubs. These will be things like HOSA, FBLA, DECA, Cyber Patriot, those type of things where you compete against other students, because what that gives you an opportunity to do is that it gives you an opportunity to measure yourself against other driven students. So if you're going to look at things to get involved with, I highly encourage you, if you're looking at highly selective colleges, to get involved with competition clubs. You don't need to do all of them. You don't. Science Olympiad is another good example. You don't need to add Science Olympiad and all the other ones that I listed. No. You need to find that area that connects with your spike. Now, in terms of community service, they want to see you involved in giving back to your community. They want to see that sacrificial part of your character. What I would always encourage students to do is pick one or two things or organizations and get highly involved in them. Don't try and do a lot of little things, because then what it looks like is that you don't commit to anything. Instead, whether it's Spokane Valley Partners in the food bank, or whether it's Second Harvest or Blessings Under the Bridge, or any one of the myriad of things, pick one or two things and get highly involved and stay highly involved all through high school. If they have an advisory board and you can serve on that board as a teen rep, that's awesome. And by the way, any connection back to your passion or your spike is awesome. For example, we had a student who was looking at going into computer science. They volunteered in an organization called Spark Central in downtown Spokane, where it was all around technology and computers. But it worked with some disadvantaged youth and children in a community that served the local community. That honestly, that's a great opportunity. If you can find that connection, I highly encourage you to do it. And then also make sure that you keep track of all of your hours and organization info. So like if you do volunteer with like Second Harvest, keep track of not only the hours that you spend with it, but the contact information of Second Harvest, any supervisors that you work under consistently, things like that. Now, the other thing that's really important is your summers. I know that students like to be able to just enjoy their summers and do nothing. But honestly, if you're looking at highly selective colleges, this is a time to gain experiences during the summer. It doesn't have to just be school. In fact, it doesn't need to be that at all. It needs to be your opportunity to look at experiences that will be helpful. So, for example, maybe it's getting highly involved, spending more time in the volunteer work that you're doing. Or maybe it's getting connected with a nonprofit that does some great work in our area, or even regionally, or even nationally. There are some scholar camps. So everything from USC and Georgetown and Johns Hopkins and Harvard and Stanford, they do scholar camps. In fact, even Western Washington University does a scholar camp where they actually offer, it's a week-long or 2 weeks or 3-week-long learning opportunities where you get a chance to go do some hands-on experiments, but in an area of passion. I encourage you to look into those. Again, they're all over at a lot of different colleges. Also, you could look into doing some scholarly work yourself. You could do some academic research yourself. we don't see that from a lot of students, but we have had some students in the past that have been involved in some research. Also, you could look at some extra coursework. And now, if you're looking for highly selective colleges, sometimes just taking a CVVL class or a class through our district or a class through SVT or New Tech just might not be enough to connect with your spike. So instead, you could look at what's called MOOCs. So edX.org, Sailor.org, there's a lot of different sites for that. But that's where like schools like Harvard, MIT, and a lot of different universities across the country have made free online courses that you could connect with. We've had a lot of students that did a course called Harvard CS 50, Computer Science 50. It's an intro computer science class that Harvard has put out there available to all students. It's challenging, it is, but it's very doable if that's an area of passion. So I encourage you, look for those. We have everything from a lot of computer science to business to science, engineering, all sorts of areas. I encourage you to look into that. And I do want to make sure that you note the summer before your senior year is probably the most important summer because highly selective colleges want to see the last summer that you have of high school, the one between your junior and senior year. How have you been purposeful with your time? That's the summer before you're going to fill out those college applications. So start planning now for what you're going to do that summer. Again, whether it's finding a course, taking a college course, whether it's getting involved with a nonprofit, a lot of different opportunities. Start planning for that. All right, one other thing that will really matter to highly selective colleges are your recommendation letters. It's incredibly important. What I would encourage you to do now is to plan for it. Don't just hope that it happens, that you're going to have good people to write letters of recommendation for you. Start planning for it now. Don't ask people to write letters for you yet. However, start planning who would be the best people to write them. And what you would need to do in order to do that is create relationships with those adults or supervisors or coaches or anything that you could end up using later on to write those letter of recommendations. Also, make sure that you keep contact information for the people. So if you do a bunch of volunteer work with an organization, keep the contact information of your direct supervisor or the person that organizes it so that you can be contacting them when you need a letter. Now, when you think ahead for the type of letters that you're going to need, typically you need 3 types of letters, sometimes a 4th, and I'll talk about that in a second. But the 3 would be a teacher from the area of passion. So that area of spike for you. You need a teacher that has had you in that area. So whether that's science, language arts, social studies, business, computer science, math, whatever area of passion that you have, you need to find a teacher that will say great things about you in that area. Again, don't ask them a bunch ahead of time. Ask them when you need it, but keep in mind, start planning for what teacher might be the best fit for that. Also, you need a counselor to be able to write them. I write a lot of letters of recommendation. I'm only one of the counselors here. So maybe it's your regular counselor that would write it, or maybe you connect with me as the career and college counselor. Last year, I think I wrote close to 100 letters of recommendation. Honestly, I write a lot of them. I would just encourage you, make sure that you connect with your counselor early about that. Maybe even sophomore, junior year that you're going to be applying to a highly selective school, and you want to make sure that you get to know the counselor and the counselor gets to know you so that they'll have a lot of good things to say. And then also, anybody connected with community service that you are doing would be a good letter to have too. So whether that's some volunteer work or maybe it's some research that you're doing out in the community or something like that, you want to make sure to have a letter. Now, there's occasional times when you're going to need a second teacher. The second teacher doesn't necessarily need to be in the area of passion, just needs to be a teacher that would say a lot of great things about you. So you definitely need that one teacher in the area that you're wanting to study. and then a second teacher. And by the way, if you're applying to something like an MIT, one of the teacher letters has to be in a STEM area. That's just one of their requirements. So what you could do is, if you know some highly selective colleges you're thinking about now, you could start looking up what kind of letters of recommendation do they require now, so that you can kind of start thinking about that and preparing for it. All right, and one of the things that I can just encourage you to do is start early. So what you could actually do, surprisingly enough, you could start your applications to highly selective colleges as a freshman. Now, it's not the full application, but you could go to commonapp.org or mycoalition.org, and both of those sites allow it to be a college application that goes to multiple colleges. Now, some schools only use one of those, some of the colleges use both of them, or either one. But I would encourage you to just check out both of the lists of schools that the Common App and the Coalition app will be used for, to see which one might be the best fit for you. Now, in both of those, you can create a profile right now. Your profile will roll over from year to year, and you can just keep updating it each year. Keep updating it over and over and over. And then your profile becomes about 60-65% of the college application that you're going to complete during your senior year after August 1st. So that'll then include like the essays, the letters of recommendation, and some of the specific questions, okay? So you could start your applications now and just keep updating those as you go along. Another thing that you could do is start organizing your life and prioritizing the things that would be really important, and then also look for summer opportunities now. I know we're in a weird year this year. Nobody knows what in the world this summer is gonna bring. But you could start thinking about opportunities that you could do now. Maybe even looking at MOOCs. Go to edx.org and check out all the courses that they offer there. One of them might be a good opportunity for you. Now, do you want to really set yourself apart? So all those things are really important and needs to be a necessary part of applying to a highly selective school. But if you want to really set yourself apart, here are a couple things that you can think about. Ways to go above and beyond and really draw attention to you. You could start your own business around your future passion. So we had a student years ago that actually created their own business around computer networking, ended up networking several businesses in our area, installed equipment and did all that stuff, and they designed all their own networks. We've had students that have started their own businesses around distribution or delivery or all sorts of things. Honestly, if you go through the whole process of starting your own business, and you can get parental support for that, that shows initiative and it shows a drive. That's not the only thing that you could look at though either. You could work with a local professor. You could reach out to some of the professors in our area between Whitworth or Gonzaga or Eastern, which would be more the ones that would have professors doing scholarly work maybe during the summer or even during the school year. And you can see if any of them would take on volunteers for that. That ends up being a great opportunity to get a letter of recommendation from a professor. That would be cool. But even the community colleges have some studies that they're involved with, especially in their environmental science. So I encourage you to think about that. If you can connect it to your spike, that would be a good idea. You could also start working on your own research and then try to publish it. So what I would do is try and find somebody that has worked around that, maybe a college professor that has published their own work, and see if they can work with you. Even if it's your work and mostly your writing, but somebody that can help guide you in that process so that the work that you're going to submit is going to be passable as scholarly research. You could also look at publishing writing that you're doing. Maybe it's not scholarly research, but it's poetry or creative writing or all sorts of things. You could look at publishing your own work. In fact, you know that like Amazon, they have systems there to self-publish. In addition, Apple iBooks does as well. So that is an opportunity to be able to self-publish even if a publishing company won't take you on. However, always reach out to the publishing companies because maybe that would be an opportunity that looks a whole lot better than just self-publishing. You can also work with a person in government. We've had several students that have done that in the past, where they've reached out to a local congressman or senator and actually worked at helping them draft a bill around something that is of passion for them. Whether that's, we had a student that did that a few years ago around human trafficking, which was really cool. A couple students have asked me in the past, does it matter if they're the same political affiliation as you? No. As long as you can get behind the work that they're doing, then no, it doesn't matter. If it goes contrary to things that you're passionate about or some things that you believe, might not be the best option, because then otherwise, it's going to be really hard to put your heart and soul into something that you don't actually agree with. There could be other ideas too. I encourage you, if you have other ideas, reach out to me, run some of those ideas by me. Maybe I can help you refine some of those. I do that a lot with students that are looking at certain opportunities and they go, well, I was thinking about this, and we kind of hash through that to kind of refine that idea into something that is either more manageable or is going to be more powerful on an application. So what are these highly selective colleges, what do they look at the most? Because ultimately, you want to know, if you make this experience for yourself in high school, and if you prioritize the right things, what do they care about the most? So let me actually give you a ranked list. Number one, they care the most about the coursework that you're doing. So your course selections, picking at the most rigorous courses that you could pick. And they care about your grades. So your GPA, that matters to them. In a lot of these schools, if you do AP classes, even though we can't weight your GPA, the colleges will weight your GPA at admissions time. So that means that you would actually get more GPA points for an AP or honors course. Also, they care about your essay. Your essay is going to be hugely important. Now, we have another video that if you want to start really thinking through what a college admissions essay really would entail and how to approach that, there's another video that you could watch on that one. They do care about your SAT and ACT. You notice that's not the number one thing. They consistently say that, but it is important. And you need the absolute highest score possible. Now, almost all the highly selective colleges do something called super scoring. So that means they'll take your highest English and highest math section and they'll create a new composite score. Or on the ACT, they'll take the highest English, the highest writing, the highest math, and the highest science score and create a new composite score. They do that because they understand that it's a test. It's testing you on one day, one experience, and things can be impacting your score, like the amount of sleep, or if you're sick, or all sorts of things. So you could take the tests multiple times, over and over and over, and they care about your highest. Trust me in that, they do. Also, they care about the activities that you're involved with. So those top four are all really close. The coursework and grades, so GPA, your admissions essay, the SAT and ACT, and your activities. So that's clubs, sports, volunteer work. Those are all really close, but it's in that order. The fifth thing that they do care about for highly selective colleges, not all of them handle this the same way, but they do require SAT subject tests. What that is a test that you get to pick certain subjects, whether it's US history or math or biology or chemistry or something like that. You take an hour-long test that's created by College Board, the same people that make the SAT and ACT. And most of the highly selective colleges require you to have two test scores. So in two different subjects. There are a couple that require three. There are a couple that require it one of the tests has to be in a certain area. Again, that's where you want to start to get to know the schools that you're looking at so that you can see what they would require. But subject tests are a part of that. So that's what they care about. That's how they're going to look at all of this. Just remember, these schools really do want experts. They want that they want to see the spike. It's not really about the well-rounded. Yes, they want well-rounded excellence in your coursework and grades. But they want to see you an expert in one thing. They want to see your passion, and they want to see your volunteer work, your clubs and activities, your coursework to all align with that passion. Keep that in mind as you go through school. Try and connect as many things as possible to your passion. But, and I want you to really take this seriously, only do what you can handle. Don't cause stress and anxiety. Don't cause a bunch of sleepless nights just because you're trying to get to a highly selective college. Because if it's going to be detrimental to your health now, most likely it's going to be detrimental to your health in your future. And you don't easily get over that. Don't push yourself over the edge now because you might then ruin your chance of going anywhere. Instead, do as much as you feel like you can handle. Listen to your parents to have them help you pace yourself through this. Because no matter what, you can go to college regardless of your GPA. You can go to college regardless of your activities. It might not be a highly selective school, but if you have to pull back on some things, that's okay to take care of your mental health or physical health. So please make sure to take that serious. Now, as you're thinking through all of this, as you're processing through, if you have questions, I want to encourage you to reach out to me. I'm here to help you. So you can, I'm trying to make sure to be as available as possible from 7:45 or 7:15 in the morning to 2:45 in the afternoon. I'm trying to be as available as possible through email. That's one way you could reach out to me. You could also log in with your CVSD 356 Google account, and you could chat with me through Google Hangouts. You can use my canderson@cvsd356.org. That's the way to connect with me through Google Hangout. And then it can be more of a chat instead of an email that's more like, one set of questions going out and one set of answers going. It's a little bit slower. Google Hangouts would be a little bit faster. Or one thing that I would actually encourage you more than anything is to go to calendly.com/Mr. Counselor, and you can schedule a virtual appointment with me. So you pick a day and a time that works for you and your schedule. You then, either from your phone or from a computer with a webcam, you can connect. Now, after you schedule the appointment, the directions will be sent to you on how to actually log in and get connected with me. We use a program called Zoom in order to actually do the web conference. Your parents can join in with you. That's totally fine. But this gives you an opportunity to be able to have a back and forth. And if your parents want to just join you in one call, that'd be awesome, because then we're all on the same page and they can ask questions and you can ask questions. And then that kind of collaboration will help support you the best. So again, if you want to really look at a highly selective college, Harvard, Stanford, Penn, Georgetown, Cornell, Brown, University of Chicago, all those types of places, I encourage you to really take all the things that we have in here very serious. Make sure that you're looking for those opportunities, looking for what your spike is going to be, and then really focus your high school experience to try and get you where you want to go. Again, if you have any questions, reach out to me. Otherwise, good luck in your planning, and hopefully we'll see you guys soon.